Hey, I'm Aria Johnson, your not-so-average 18-year-old senior from the suburbs of Chicago. Sure, I've got the grades 4.0 GPA, but what really sets me apart? My determination to get into Northwestern and study journalism. It's been my dream for as long as I can remember. Aria, have you finished that college essay yet? My mom, Linda, called from the kitchen one night. I glanced up from my laptop, eyes bleary. Almost done, just putting the final touches on it. My dad, George, popped his head in, grinning. That's my girl. Keep up the great work. They were supportive for sure, but sometimes I'd catch them sharing these strange, anxious glances when they thought I wasn't looking, like they knew something I didn't. Balancing school and my part-time job at Cafe Grind wasn't easy, but I powered through. College isn't cheap, and I was determined to make it. My best friend Tyler popped by the cafe one day and asked, "Yo, Aria, how's the college grind?" I rolled my eyes. I'm drowning in applications and essays, but I'm not giving up. That's why you're going to crush it. You've got this, he said with a grin. Later that week, my boyfriend Marcus surprised me at work. You look stressed, he said, leaning over the counter. Everything all right? Just the usual college panic, I sighed. Sometimes I wonder if it's even worth it. Marcus took my hand, his eyes softening. Are you kidding? You're the smartest person I know. Northwestern won't know what hit them. Their support meant everything. I had no idea how much I needed soon. It was a Thursday when everything changed. I came home to flashing lights and police cars parked outside. My heart dropped. Miss Johnson, an officer approached me, his face serious. There's been an accident. Your parents, they didn't make it. The world shattered around me. Just like that, they were gone. A weekend trip that ended in tragedy. The next few days were a blur of funeral arrangements and endless paperwork. I moved in with Aunt Sarah, who tried her best to be strong for both of us. Aria, honey, she said one night, her voice breaking. What about your college plans? I wiped away tears. I don't know, Aunt Sarah. But I can't give up now. Mom and Dad wouldn't want that. So I threw myself into applications, scholarships, and extra shifts at the cafe. Anything to keep my dream alive. You sure you're okay? Tyler asked one day at school. I nodded, unable to speak. Marcus was there too, always with a hug when I needed it. You're the strongest person I know, Aria. You've got this. But something gnawed at me, like there was more to my parents' story. I couldn't shake the feeling that they were hiding something, if only I knew how right I was. 2 years into Northwestern, and I was barely hanging on. Between classes, my job at the campus bookstore, and weekend shifts at Joe's Diner, I was running on fumes. Aria, you look like death warmed over, my roommate Zoe said one morning as I chugged my third cup of coffee. Thanks, I muttered. Just what every girl wants to hear. Kevin, my study buddy from journalism ethics, chimed in. You're going to burn out, Aria. Take a break. But I couldn't. Every time I thought about slowing down, I remembered my parents. They'd never see me graduate, and that kept me going, even when I was dead on my feet. Then came that night at Joe's. It was slow, just me and Eddie, the night cook. I was wiping down tables when the bell above the door jingled. Welcome to Joe's, I said automatically, turning around, and froze. Standing there, as if they hadn't been dead for years or my parents. I blinked, sure I was hallucinating. But no, it was them. Older, dressed differently, but unmistakably George and Linda Johnson. They didn't see me at first, too busy arguing in hushed tones as they ordered coffee to go. When they turned to leave, my dad's eyes met mine. He paled, grabbing my mom's arm. George, what's wrong? She asked, before following his gaze and spotting me. Oh my God. I finally found my voice. Mom? Dad? How are you alive? They bolted. I chased them into the parking lot, my mind reeling. Wait. Stop. How could you do this? My dad turned, his face stricken. Aria, we can explain. Explain faking your deaths, abandoning me. My mom stepped forward, her face filled with regret. We were in trouble, honey. Financial trouble. We thought this was the only way out. The only way out. I choked, my voice trembling with anger. Do you have any idea what you put me through? My dad shook his head, guilt etched across his features. We never meant for you to find out. We just wanted a fresh start. A fresh start? Without me? Tears streamed down my face. the weight of their betrayal sinking in. "I thought you were dead. I mourned you." They stammered out more excuses, but I couldn't hear them anymore. My mind was spinning as they hurried to their car and sped away, leaving me crumpled on the asphalt, my world shattered all over again. I fumbled for my phone and called Aunt Sarah, barely able to get the words out through my sobs. She rushed over and held me tightly as I wept. "I had suspicions," she admitted later, gently stroking my hair. "There were things that didn't add up, but I never had proof." I wiped my eyes. "What do we do now?" Aunt Sarah's gaze hardened. "We find out the truth. All of it." That's how we ended up hiring Jack, a no-nonsense private investigator with a reputation for uncovering even the deepest secrets. "It won't be easy," he warned us, his eyes serious. "People who go to these lengths to disappear cover their tracks well." "I don't care," I said firmly. "I need to know why they did this, why they left me." Jack set off to dig into my parents' deception, while I tried to focus on school. But it was impossible. My entire life felt like a lie, and I was determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Weeks passed, and I barely slept. Then, one evening, Jack called with news. His voice was steady, but the words felt like a punch to the gut. "Your parents used forged death certificates," he explained. "They had help from a lawyer named Maxwell Green, a real shady character." I gripped the phone tighter. "Where are they now?" "They've been living in Evanston under the names Brian and Helen Carter," Jack continued. "Working odd jobs, keeping a low profile. They've been close this whole time." My stomach churned at the revelation. They'd been right under my nose. Aunt Sarah squeezed my hand. "Do you want to confront them?" I nodded, my throat tight. "I need answers." We arranged to meet at a park, neutral ground. When I saw them approach, nervous and older than I remembered, a flood of emotions hit me like a tidal wave. "Aria, sweetheart," my mom began. "Don't," I cut her off, my voice cold. "Just tell me why." My dad let out a heavy sigh. "We were in debt. Bad investments, credit cards. We felt trapped." "So you abandoned your daughter." Aunt Sarah's voice was ice. Mom's eyes filled with tears. "We thought you'd be better off without us dragging you down. We never wanted to hurt you." "Better off?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I was alone. I thought you were dead." "We're so sorry," my dad pleaded. "We know we can never make it right, but please, can you forgive us?" I stared at them, struggling to reconcile the people standing before me with the parents I had loved and lost. But they weren't the same. They were strangers now, wearing my parents' faces. "No," I whispered, my voice shaking. "I can't." As Aunt Sarah and I walked away, leaving them calling after us, I felt hollow. Like the last remnants of my past had crumbled into dust. The next few weeks were a blur. My grades plummeted. I couldn't focus, couldn't sleep. Everything felt meaningless. "Aria, is everything all right?" Dr. Patel, my academic advisor, asked during our meeting. The concern on her face was enough to break me. I broke down, telling her everything. She listened, her eyes filled with compassion. "I'm so sorry you're going through this," she said gently. "Let's work out a plan to get you back on track, okay?" With her help, I got extensions on my assignments and set up a study schedule. It wasn't easy, but it gave me something to focus on, something to keep me grounded as the rest of my life spiraled. My friends rallied around me too. Zoe and Kevin practically moved into our dorm, armed with junk food, bad movies, and endless support. They made me laugh, even when I felt like I never would again. I wasn't okay yet, but at least I wasn't alone. And for now, that was enough. "We've got your back, Aria," Zoe said one night as we huddled on my bed, her arm wrapped around my shoulder. "Whatever you need," Kevin added, nodding. "We're not going anywhere." Unlike some people I could mention, I managed a weak laugh. It felt good to know I wasn't alone, despite everything. Then my phone rang. It was Jack. "Aria, I found something else," he said, his voice grim. "Your parents, they've been involved in serious financial crimes. Tax evasion, insurance fraud." My heart sank. How bad are we talking? Bad enough for jail time if the authorities find out. I sat there in stunned silence. The weight of the revelation pressed down on me, the anger, the betrayal. Then a thought surfaced. What if someone tipped off the authorities? Anonymously? Jack paused. "That would definitely set things in motion. Are you sure that's what you want?" I hesitated, thinking of the sleepless nights, the tears, the lies, the life I had to rebuild on my own. The struggle, the pain, the loneliness. Yes, I said finally, my voice steady. It's time they face the consequences. That night, I sent an anonymous email to the authorities detailing everything Jack had uncovered. As I hit send, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Whatever happened next, I knew one thing for sure. I was done being a victim of my parents' choices. It was time to take control of my own life. As graduation day approached, I poured myself into my work. Between classes and my internship at the Chicago Tribune, I barely had time to breathe, let alone think about my parents. "Aria, these articles are fantastic," my editor Jim said one afternoon. "Have you thought about staying on after graduation?" I blinked in surprise. "Are you offering me a job?" Jim grinned. "Entry level. But yes, you've got real talent, kid." I left the office that day feeling like I was walking on air. Finally, something was going right. Graduation day dawned bright and clear. As I donned my cap and gown, I felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. I'd made it, despite everything. "You ready for this, valedictorian?" Zoe asked, adjusting my tassel with a grin. I took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. As I waited to give my speech, I scanned the crowd. Aunt Sarah was there, beaming. So were Kevin and my other friends. But then my heart stopped. In the back row, I saw them, my parents. Before I could process their presence, there was a commotion. Two men in suits approached them, flashing badges. "George and Linda Johnson," one said. "You're under arrest for tax evasion and insurance fraud." I watched, stunned, as my parents were led away in handcuffs, protesting loudly. "Aria Johnson," the dean called. It was time for my speech. I approached the podium, my hands shaking slightly. "Fellow graduates, honored guests," I began, my voice steadying. "Today we celebrate not just our academic achievements, but our perseverance in the face of adversity." As I spoke about integrity and resilience, I felt the weight lifting off my shoulders. I was no longer defined by my parents' actions. I was my own person, forging my own path. After the ceremony, Aunt Sarah hugged me tightly. "I'm so proud of you, sweetie." In the weeks that followed, the full extent of my parents' crimes came to light. They were facing significant jail time and hefty fines. Maxwell Green, their shady lawyer, was disbarred. The insurance company they had defrauded came after them with a vengeance. Despite the closure, I still felt unsettled. That's why, when the Tribune offered to transfer me to their New York office, I jumped at the chance for a fresh start. "You sure about this?" Kevin asked as he helped me pack. I nodded. "I need a change of scenery. Besides, Aunt Sarah's moving there too for her new job." Zoe handed me a box. "Just promise you'll visit, okay?" New York was a whirlwind, new job, new apartment, new therapist to help me process everything. Slowly but surely, I started to heal. One day, my editor called me into his office. "Aria, that series you wrote on financial fraud? It's gone national. People are calling for reforms." I smiled, thinking of the anonymous sources I'd cultivated. People like me, affected by financial crimes. That's great news. As I left work that day, my phone buzzed with a news alert. George and Linda Johnson face additional charges for newly uncovered fraudulent schemes. I paused on the busy sidewalk, letting the information sink in. Then I put my phone away and kept walking. Their story wasn't my story anymore. I had my own path now, advocating for students struggling with college expenses, shining a light on financial crimes, building a life I could be proud of. Whatever came next, I knew one thing for sure. I was ready to face it head on, with integrity and strength. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had made me who I am. And you know what? I wouldn't change that for anything.